What's up, YouTube? It's RJ here with Harbuck Media to discuss with you today what is the cost associated with creating videos. But before we get into content today, if you are not a subscriber, please become a subscriber today. Become a subscriber today and smash that notification bell so that you'll be notified of all of our upcoming content. We post videos just like this one every Friday at 12, and then we have YouTube shorts that come out Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. We want you to be notified as soon as those videos become available for you to watch. If you like the video today, be sure to give us a thumbs up. If you have a comment, drop it down in the comment section. It could be a comment or a question about this video or any of our other videos that we've already created. Or if you just have a comment or question in general, we'd love to interact with you in that way. And we will do our best to respond to that question as quickly as possible. And if it's a question that needs a more feature-length explanation, then we would love to be able to turn that into a video just like this one and continue that conversation with you in that way. But without further ado, let's get into the video.
Oh, fire and water me, going down deep, sing, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, far beneath. Down to the river.
All right, so what is the cost associated with creating videos? Now, obviously, we're all thinking financial cost, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there, I promise. But the first thing I want to talk about is the cost of time. The cost of time. Creating video content costs you time. The biggest way that it costs you time is consistency. Remember, when you're creating any social media content of any kind, consistency is key. Consistency is the most important thing. And so it's going to cost you your time as the person who is standing in front of the camera. It's going to cost you the time of considering, what am I going to film? What am I going to record? But then also, preparing that content and then filming that content. If you have a guest, someone that you're going to interview, for instance, it takes the time of that person, but it also takes your time to prepare the questions in advance and then to record that interview. It takes the time of setting up, if you don't have a designated studio for recording every video that you make. If you are doing a podcast and you have multiple hosts that you're going to have a dialogue with, then it takes the time of those people to prepare for their content, and then also the time to record that podcast. And then it takes the time for your editor, the person who is going to edit that content. It takes them time. The longer the video, the longer the take, the more takes there are, the more you mess up and they have to cut out. That's the longer it takes that editor to create that finished content for you. Then there's the time associated with publishing that content. If you have poor internet, or if your editor doesn't have great internet, and then that's going to slow down that process. And then the management of that content, and that's really going to be up to you and your editor or your social media content manager to decide how often that content needs to be checked on, and how often do we need to make adjustments to, say, our posting schedule. So there is a time that it takes for this whole process, and there is a cost associated to that time. There is also the cost of personnel. As we just mentioned, you could decide that you want to do a podcast and you have other staff members that are going to participate in that podcast with you. Well, you have to have the staff to do that. And it can't just be anyone. It has to be someone who understands the content as fluently as you as fluently as you do, so that you can have a dialogue with those people. If you're not going to do that, but instead you're going to interview a guest, then you have to have guests, and you have to have guests lined up in advance, and you have to have people prepared to step in for that guest in case they are unable to make that prearranged meeting. If you're going to hire an editor, then you're going to need to have that editor. If you're not going to hire an editor directly, then perhaps you're going to, use someone already on your staff that shows kind of a proclivity towards graphic art and design. And maybe that person can be taught, can be trained how to edit videos and manage that content in that way. Or maybe you consider just bringing in a new person as part of your team and make their job specifically the creation and management of all of your video content. Whatever your decision is as far as the editing process, the publishing, and the management of that process, that requires personnel as well. So not only do you have the setup of your equipment and the actual creation of your content, the sitting down in front of the camera and taking the time to create that with the people that you are creating it with, but then you also have those who take that raw content and then create a finished product and manage that for you. All of that costs in personnel. And as you can only imagine, the cost of time and personnel is going to ultimately impact your financial cost. Your financial cost is going to be dependent upon what kind of personnel do you hire? Do you hire someone who is more of a novice when it comes to video editing, or are you hiring an expert? Are you hiring an individual? Are you hiring a firm? Are you using someone who's already on your staff and training them? I would hope that you're going to compensate that person for their time and their energy learning this new skill, this new trade. Or are you going to bring someone on full time specifically for your staff and your content, your video creation needs, and then pay the person the salary and benefits that go along with that? Are you going to go the route of hiring a contractor, whether an individual or a firm that specializes in creating and managing video content? These different routes have different prices associated with them, and they all have pros and cons. One's not necessarily better than the other. One may be better than the other for you, for your specific needs. But all in all, there's not really, a better way to go with any of these. They all have their pros and cons, as I've already said. So you have to consider what's the best route for you to go. And the really the best way for me to describe this, or to really talk about the cost, is the financial cost, is to discuss it from a budgetary standpoint. And that's really what you're probably going to have to decide is, what is my budget? Now, let's be really honest. If your budget is $150 a month for creating video content, good luck. And I don't mean that to be rude. I mean that to be practical. We don't necessarily have to create a video every day or every week, but $150 is not going to buy you a video, pretty much, period. Unless you're talking about, a high school student who has a very basic understanding of video editing. This is a very specific skill set that takes a lot of time and energy to become an expert in. It takes multiple forms of software, to balance the audio and the video, to color correct. And, depending on how detailed, if you're talking about a podcast with multiple, people speaking at different times, and you're pulling, a Zoom call in for, your guest or whatever, that could require you taking audio out of one software into another software and matching it all up and balancing it all out and removing background static noise and all that kind of stuff. And okay, maybe you don't have to do that, but then you have a quality issue, and that's okay. If you're okay with a quality issue, then by all means, see if you can find someone who's willing to make you a video for $150. Let's just be real though. You're going to have a hard time finding that. So I think the best way to go about this is let's say your budget's $1,000. Well, for a budget of $1,000, you could probably do a weekly YouTube video, a weekly 10-minute long approximately YouTube video, especially if you're saying that, you were able to perfect your recording process in such a way that you're providing your editor with, 15 to 20 minutes worth of raw content. If you're able to do that, then I could see your editor being able to produce 4 full-length, approximately 10-minute long videos a month, one a week, for your YouTube channel. That would include descriptions and thumbnails and the publishing and management of that content. But that probably does not include clips. If you're wanting to add, 3 YouTube shorts and maybe post them to Instagram too, then you're probably looking at more like $1,500 a month. If you're talking about that one weekly YouTube video plus 3 additional clips in that horizontal format posted on multiple social media platforms. And man, maybe $1,000, $1,500, that's just way outside of your budget. Well, we don't have to post every single week. Again, if your budget's more like $500 a month, then maybe you look at more like posting every other week, 2 videos a month. And again, just that, 10-minute long video. If creating YouTube shorts or Instagram reels is more important to you than creating that long form content, then, maybe a budget of, $250 a month will buy you 3 short videos. That could be, anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes long. $250 a month for 3, 1 to 3 minute long videos. That's probably a fair trade for your editor. So I would really suggest first figuring out, what is this worth to you? If the goal for a business is to solve a problem, then as an editor, the problem I'm solving is producing video content for your needs so that you can advertise yourself and brand yourself and market yourself to your clients. And so if that's the problem I solve is presenting yourself in video format, then that needs to be a significant problem to you. If it's a $150 problem, it's not really a problem. If it's $1,000 problem, depending on the size of your business, maybe it's becoming a problem, and so that's something that you need to consider. Now, we created a video a couple of weeks ago. 63% of businesses are creating videos. They're using videos as part of their marketing campaigns in 2022. If you are not a business that is currently using video in your marketing and advertisement strategy, in your proposals or whatever, if you're just not using video at all, you are behind. You are in the 37% of businesses that do not do this. So that is something to consider. This should be a problem that you need solved. If you are a business in 2022 and you want to continue to grow, this is a problem that you need to have solved for you. So you need to sit down and figure out, what is that problem worth? And then from that budget, your editing team, your marketing team, your branding team, your whatever it may be, they can help you figure out what kind of content you can create within that budget, within that price range. If you're interested, Harbuck Media, we are one of those editing firms. We specialize in helping create content. We, help you on the front end with, what kind of content can I create? What kind of strategies can I come up with? What types of formats would fit me best? But then also we do the editing and the publishing and the management of that content. And so if you're thinking, man, you gave some good examples, but maybe not really the example I'm thinking. Maybe I'm thinking I want a podcast or something like that. Drop us down, in the comment section, your details, what you're thinking about as far as your content creation needs, and we can have that dialogue and maybe share with you what kind of a price range you should be looking at. And then if you're interested in having a conversation with us, we'd love to be able to talk to you and maybe we can, do something with you and help you in that way. But either way, I hope that you enjoyed the video today. I hope that you found it, helpful as you're considering moving forward in 2022 and creating video content for your business. I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, please be sure to give us that like, that thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, as always, please become a subscriber and hit that notification bell. We want to be able to notify you of every time we have new video content come out. We have it weekly, and I think that you will benefit from our video content. So please become a subscriber today. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments, be sure to drop them down in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll catch you next weekend.
Oh, fire and water me, going down deep, sing, bury me, carry me, far beneath. to the river.